What is up, guys, and welcome to another Bojanian vlog. How you all doing? I'm doing alright, still alive. But anyway, so I don't really know when this entry is going to come out in real time, from the time of recording, because prior to this, I have a lot of videos, so obviously this is just me talking to myself, really. But But anyway, I thought that I would do this entry about one of my videos in the past few months, right? I think it's my most watched video on this channel, right? And yes, of course, I'm talking about my narcissism video, or rather, more specifically, my closet narcissism. And it has over 1,000 views, and I've gotten a few subscribers off of it. Hello, subscribers who subscribed to me because of that video. I knew that when I did that video, it would be a very special video because it was really one of the more. It was probably the video where I was the most, candid about part of myself that I never really talked about or thought about before, right? And it's a very, very sensitive, topic, right? And really, I had no idea that it would get so many views, right? But alas, it seems that, it seems that narcissism, or the topic of narcissism, is quite one that people think about a lot, and I thought that I would honor the fact that my video got so many views, and just take the time to talk about basically it's to give a response to that video, and answer a few questions, and just kind of make sure that we're all on the same page, really, because the comments that I've gotten on that video, some of them are really positive, right? And that was honestly really, it was really heartwarming to read some of the positive comments that you guys have left me. There was one in particular that I was I got a bit teary-eyed, well, just it put a smile on my face, and it was just really positive, and and affirming, right? So so some of my comments I've received are positive, and then there are some that kind of are not so positive, right? And well, more than anything, I think that, again, points to the fact that narcissism is a really, really it's a really kind of contentious, is a way of putting it. I don't like that word. It sounds really kind of impersonal and clinical, but it's kind of a really, it's an area that I think a lot of people are, let's just say that I think that we're all victims of narcissism, right? I think that's probably maybe a better way of putting it, right? Maybe not the best way, because I'm not really a fan of the word victim either, but it definitely is something that affects a lot of us, right? And even the messages that I received that let's say weren't as positive, right? not as positive messages, like even them, like I didn't really take any of it that personally, like, you know, some of the messages honestly were a bit personal, to be honest, but like, but you know, there was nothing crazy, you know, having, you know, that said. And also, yeah, I didn't really take it that personally. I just thought of it as like, huh, this is interesting, like, for, you know, people leaving these comments, you know, they must obviously have, you know, let's say a complicated relationship with the topic, right? But like, so yeah, like I said, I just want to clear up a few things, and also just like have a talk, you know, like, you know, further talk about this topic, right? Seeing as so many of you, you know, are interested or are affected by it, you know. And yeah, if I can remember any of the questions, I don't have the internet right now, but like, if I remember any of the questions as well, I'll dive into those. But yeah, and then I hope by the end of this video that like it's clear what my stance is around the subject, and you know, and basically there are no like there are no kind of like places where like basically there could be misunderstandings or like things of that nature. If you have any further questions, right, then I'm happy to answer them, right? You know, because, you know, it's not every day that you stumble upon something like, I'm a nobody on the internet, right? Like you know, I have a few, you know, subscribers, right? But like, you know, I'm pretty much a nobody, right? And for my one video to get so much views, okay, like, it was a bit clickbaity, right? You know, I didn't mean it to be clickbaity really, but like, it's kind of like, I mean, I really was talking about like my recent like kind of realization that I was a closet or covert narcissist, right? You know, clickbait wasn't the top reason why, you know, I made that title, but like, I guess in a sense, or in a like in a way of looking at it, like, it is kind of clickbaity, like it kind of, you know, it's like, hey, you know, this is a controversial topic, you know, you're gonna watch this video, right? But yeah, but anyway, so let's start with like let's start with the juicy thing, right? Let's start with like what I think about narcissism, right? Because I feel that like perhaps maybe I wasn't so clear about it in the video, or perhaps like maybe I didn't talk about it, like, yeah, I wasn't, you know, I basically didn't explain myself clearly, because, you know, that video was kind of a bit, you know, my videos tend to be quite like chaotic in terms of like, there's no really any set order of like of my kind of talking about a certain topic, right? I just kind of like go with the flow and just riff, right? So like sometimes I guess like maybe my point isn't that clear, but basically I'm not like a psychologist, you know, like, or anything close to that. Like I'm someone who is just, I'm interested in ideas and perspectives, and also like the human condition, right? And that's kind of what I talk about. That would be the overarching kind of theme that I tackle in my videos, right? You know, I say tackle, I just run my mouth, you know, because I like thinking about these things and talking about these things and expressing these things. But like, you know, like, so as such, I'm not an expert on on this label of narcissism, right? It's like I kind of understand it like in terms of like how it affects people, how it affects me subjectively, and my own kind of experiences with my own narcissism and also other people's narcissism. But like, I'm not like a trained professional on the subject, right? So like, maybe, you know, there's something about the topic that I don't understand, right? And that's fine, you know. Well, by that's fine I mean like, well, yeah, basically I'm like an idiot. Like I'm a kind of like a dabbler, dilettante kind of a guy who just like flits from like topic to topic, right? But what I will say is that like it is something that, you know, I wasn't like I think the idea I have for the next video will, like that's a topic that is more like just I had a thought about it and I want to talk about it. But narcissism is something that's very close to me, and so like even though like I'm not an expert and like I don't purport to be one, or even like, if I'm being honest, right, like I didn't make that entry as a kind of like an intellectual kind of a treatment on the subject. I just wanted to make a video where I kind of really just talked about my own experiences with it, and also like what I think it means in like an everyday kind of a setting, like in your own life, you know, in my own life, what does it mean to be a narcissist, and like what thoughts do I have about it, what do I think that it means, like what might it mean for the future for me, you know, that kind of thing, you know. So I approached it more from a pragmatic standpoint, you know, as opposed to like one where it's like, you know, like let me define what narcissism is, right? You know, like that's really obviously, you know, it's a combination of the way that I talk, right, and also just like I guess there is a little bit of me that's like, you know, let's have a debate on this, and like let me like give my definition of it. It's like, but I think moreover, like what I really wanted to talk about was like what it means to be narcissistic, right? And really, like, to be honest, I personally, you know, I don't like to view narcissism as like a I don't like viewing it as like a trait. And I, like, that's not really the right word, and I sound kind of dumb by saying it, but like it is a trait, obviously, right? But the thing is, like, I don't like using the word narcissist, like, and or rather, when I say narcissist, like, I'm not like, my intention is not to label. Like, I think that's a more accurate word. I don't like using it as a label, right? And the reason I don't like using narcissist as a label is because I don't think that it's useful to use that label, and B, like, when you use labels, there's always a danger that like you hold people where they are. So when I said that I was a closet narcissist, right? I think there were some comments that were kind of, you know, they kind of understood where I was going, and what I really meant was that like I have traits of covert narcissism, which I absolutely do, right? Because I grew up with them, right? But like as such, as such, it kind of makes sense to call myself a narcissist, and that's exactly what I did in that entry. But you know, the danger, like I said, about calling myself a narcissist and calling other people narcissists, you know, obviously there's nothing like ultimately wrong with using that word, but like, you know, because it's just a word, right? Labels are just labels, but the kind of the kind of like hidden danger of using labels is that like you just kind of bookmark people. Not bookmark, pigeonhole, that's the right word. You kind of just pigeonhole, and like, even that is, you know, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, right? Or rather, like, you know, it's not as if like it's not as if like I'm sitting here and be like, oh, I'll never pigeonhole anyone, I'll never use labels, fuck labels. It's like, no, it's not like that. It's more that like you have to be aware of like, if you want someone to change, like I have traits of covert narcissism, right? And like, if I want to hope to change, then I have to be able to envision myself as someone who basically lifts himself out of this classification of covert narcissism. Do you see what I mean? It's like, I'd rather treat something like narcissism as a kind of a trait, really, like a property that exists within us, like a tendency is probably a better word, a tendency in people, and everyone has this tendency, right? A tendency within people to act a certain way, and we're trying to like basically lift ourselves out of that tendency and into a new tendency, which is like one that's more like considerate, I suppose, of other people and things like that, right? And so, like, I just wanted to make that clear. Is like, it's very like impersonal, and it's very rational, basically. Like, it's like, well, I just wanted to at least make it clear that, like, what I use that label because, like, it is like a universally understood label, and like it really conveniently points towards a tendency within myself that I grew up with to be and like I said, like, selfishness is not like to be like self-absorbed and self-centered, and like not be able to like cater for other people's emotionality and like needs and stuff like that, right? I have that, but like the reason I don't, again, it's not about the language, right? Like, it is not about the language. Like, it's about what can you do to change yourself for the better. That's what I am really interested in, like, in this channel and in my own life. It's like, labels are useful to an extent, but like, you can get into these arguments about what labels are, like I am now, like myself, right, with myself. But like, I think the important focus is just to like improve and to help others improve, and like, if you can use such a label to identify something that within yourself that is not necessarily what you would consider to be ideal, and you want to change that about yourself, then it's useful to like to have that label so you can kind of understand what it is, and understand like what properties it has and how it manifests, and then kind of like get to the root cause of those things so that you can kind of look at like how you can like change those things organically, right? So yeah, really, like, I made that entry as, I guess it was a great many things, really. It was like a confession, it was like admission, it felt really good to do that entry. Let me tell you, because like, it was just like, when you tell something like that, that you think to be ugly to the world, it is really a liberating thing. Like, it feels really good to do that, and like, at the back of your mind, like, also, this might be slightly selfish, but like, you also feel as if like that experience and you articulating, or you describing like what you went through and like what you think is wrong with you, I think it helps people, right? And that's evidenced by like all of the nice comments I got on that video. So once again, thank you for those. It's like, I've gotten past the point where I expect that like people are going to flood to my videos, but like just for the fact that you watched my video and you left a comment, like that's pretty cool, that's pretty awesome. Okay, so really that's would be my position, is like, we are trying to understand what something like narcissism is, right? So like, if you're someone who is a victim of narcissism, whether it be in yourself or other people, partners, because I saw a lot of comments on my video talking about like how, like, people who commented like they have like narcissistic partners, and they just suffered a lot at the hands of narcissists, and like, that's completely real, and it's completely, and that's why I even though like some of those did sting a little, right, because it's like, I made this video and I didn't expect people to like comment on them, and some of them, like I said, were a bit personal, but nothing too crazy, like I said, but like, but knowing that, like, you know, the reason why, like, a lot of those comments were posted was because, like, you know, people just, like, they feel like narcissism is such a curse to them, on them rather, and so they just felt like commenting, you know, about how they feel, and like, and that's why I was like, I'm not going to take this personally, right? You know, even though it stung a little, right? But like, so I feel like I'm almost there. I'm not, like, before I move on to, like, okay, what should we, what, you know, what is then my further message, which I was getting into, but like, there's one more thing I want to say, which is like, yes, so I am, I don't like the word narcissist as a description, because I don't know what it really means, because, you know, basically, like, I could call myself a narcissist, like, whoever's watching this, you could call me a narcissist, right? And, like, you know, you can kind of, like, look at me and be like, oh yeah, I see him, he's a narcissist, right? And it's like, I'd be inclined to agree with you, to be honest, right? But the thing about that is that, like, then there are other, like, no, there were other comments on my video that were like, well, I don't think you're a narcissist. So like, you know, just to kind of, like, hastily generalize, like, like, the videos were mostly, the comments on my video were mostly split between, like, you know, you're a narcissist, I can see it, and then, like, I don't think you're a narcissist, right? So, like, those are the two, like, kind of things, and it's like, yeah, like, I appreciate both, right, because they're both true, you know, like, because, like, yeah, it's like someone with traits of narcissism, you know, you call them narcissists, right? You know, you know, what I said earlier about labels, it's like, it's not as if labels are wrong, you know, because, like, they make sense, you know, you would call someone with narcissistic traits a narcissist, you know, so that's right, and then simultaneously, it's like, but, like, that label, like, does not, it's like, it was one video I made, and like, even though and even though it's something that's, like I said, is very close to me, like, in terms of, like, what I've done and what other people have done to me, it's like, at the same time, it's like, if you just label me as a narcissist, like, are you, like, what else can I be, right? You know, you've already made up your mind. Like, if I call myself a narcissist and I'm like, I'm just a narcissist, it's like, and you don't realize that, like, it's just a label, then, like, you just pigeonhole that person, and it's like, so do you want that person to improve? You know, sure you do, right? You know, it's like, no one wants no one wants for themselves or for the people around them to have problems that hurt themselves and other people. Like, no one wants that, right? So, like, to answer, like, you know, like, am I a narcissist? Like, yes and no, you know, that's the kind of weird, not really helpful answer, but, like, I personally would say that, like, I am a narcissist. However, I'm working to figure out what it means to be a narcissist and have traits of narcissism, and you know, and to kind of then think about how I can continue to live my life in a way that will one day I will be ready. So, like, just like, okay, so how do I approach this? And then one day I'll be ready to, like, fully face it, and hopefully maybe even change it, right, for the better. But that was really, you know, that was really the second half of my video. Like, it's like, if I'm honest, you know, like, I would have wished that, like, everyone who watched my video watched my entire video, but, like, and maybe some of them did, right? You know, some people definitely did, right? You know, the people who responded with positive comments, and I'm not saying that people who responded with negative comments didn't watch my video either, right? You know, maybe you did, right? But, like, if you watch my entire video, you'll know, like, you know, what I think narcissism is. Like, I went through, like, in that video, like, what my thoughts on narcissism, and how, like, it's distinct from selfishness, and, like, how, like, you know, it's something that like you have to approach with, not with like a mentality of like, so, you know, like in that video I talked about like cancer, and I talked about like addiction, right? I use those as like parallels to what I talked about for narcissism. And the reason that I use those parallels was because we treat things such as cancer and addiction like they're like the plague, right? You know, like you're addicted to something, like fucking like you need to get rid of that shit, right? Or like you have cancer, get like chemotherapy and like get rid of that stuff, right? You know, and we need to keep, you know, piling on resources to like eliminate this thing. It's like, the thing is, like, I don't know what to say about that, honestly. It's like, I don't think that mentality is ever going to go away, right? And as such, like, I don't really want to criticize it, because, like, I don't know if criticizing it is really the right thing to do, you know? By that mindset, I mean, like, that, like, these things are diseases, right? You know, because, I'll be honest, right, you know, that kind of sentiment does kind of leap out at me a bit, like, from some of the comments that I saw in my video. Just, like, you know, the whole idea that, like, narcissism is a virus, is a disease, right? And people who have it, like, you know, like, they need to be cleansed of it, right? And it's like, I understand where that comes from. I do. And again, that's why I said that, like, I'm not going to take it personally, right? You know, and beyond that, like, I feel for you, you know, I feel like what, like, you know, I didn't know, like, you know, it only took until you comment, like, you know, you got, like, those who commented on my video with, like, these sentiments that, like, they were brought to my attention. I was like, whoa, you know, it's like, huh. But anyway, yeah, and as such, like, you know, yeah, I lost my train of thought there, but, like, there is one thing I will say, right, for all of you, for all of those who, or as a kind of like a conclusion, more or less, to, like, the question of, am I a narcissist? Yes, I am. And you don't necessarily see that in this video. So, like, that's the tricky thing, right? It's like, you know, some people said that, like, you know, I don't think you're a narcissist, and, like, you know, and like, and I think that's true, because, like, I mean, you know, some of you said, like, you know, oh, I don't want this entry to be about me, but, like, but, like, it's like, you know, like, a narcissist wouldn't, like, be so candid about this thing, right? You know, they need narcissistic supply, blah, 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 like, and I think that's right, you know, I think, like, that narcissism, at least, like, you know, really, really kind of extreme pathological narcissism, right, like, would not seek, like, to improve themselves in this regard, right? Or even be interested in the notion of self-improvement, you know, because the whole point of it is that, like, you know, it's like a powerless victimhood type of a thing, right? You know, narcissism is rooted, like I said, it's rooted in starvation, it's rooted in, like, powerlessness, it's rooted in, like, I'm not worth anything, and, like, I don't even like that thought, so I'm going to suppress that, and then, like, I'm just going to go about, and, like, all I can really focus is on myself. That's another way of articulating what I was trying to say in that video. As a narcissist, and, or someone with narcissism within them, right? Whether that be overt narcissism, like I said, there is a distinction. Overt narcissism and covert narcissism. Overt as in, like, traditional narcissism, where, like, people are, like, overbearing and, like, you know, that kind of thing. And that is that, like, you have no option. It's like when you have your hands bound, right? Imagine if your hands were strapped behind your back really tight, handcuffs or, like, leather bands, right? And you couldn't move your arms, right? And obviously, because you can't move your arms, you can't grab something that's going to be able to, like, cut you free, right? That's what narcissism is, right? And it's a very difficult perspective to hold, particularly if you've suffered at the hands of a narcissist, right? Because, like, but, like, it's the truth. The truth, you know, it's like, what's that phrase, right? You know, people don't hurt people hurt people, right? And it's the truth, and it's a really difficult truth. Really difficult. Like, you know, I'm no better at this than anyone else, right? It's so hard to be able to be like, okay, that thing is true, and like, I need to like take responsibility for myself, and like not like go ham on someone else, because like it's just this endless cycle of like, you know, this person is a cunt to you and you're a cunt to someone else, you know, and they're passive aggressive, and you like overstep their boundaries, or whatever the case may be, right? It's like, that's, you know, one, and two, like, oh shit, what was my second point? Two was like, you know, two like, you just, I forgot what I was going to say. Like, oh, mine went blank. But like, it happens. It does happen to me a lot. Like, I'm very scatterbrained. Sorry, you know, I was in the middle of a very serious discussion as well. But like, yeah, you know, it's basically a it's not something that you do because you want to, you know, and it's very, very difficult. But like, you know, if you care about yourself, and if you care about the people around you, then like you owe it to yourself to think deeper about these things, right? So, you know, so what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so yeah, like, so, you know, yeah, I'm someone who likes who moves towards the light, as it were, like, you know, right, and like, I like, you know, I want to learn more about myself and other people. You know, however, like, you don't know me behind, like, when I'm not on the camera, right? You know, like, you don't know how I am to like friends and family, you know. And I can say that, like, I'm probably more narcissistic when I'm in the real world than when I'm talking. This is my strength, right? I do this a lot because, like, I'm good at it, like, or rather, like, I find it easy. It's just something I really enjoy. Like, you know, ideas come naturally to me. I like articulating. I like expressing. That's just my way of expressing myself, right? And like, it's where I feel the most confident and the most cognizant of myself. Is how I think, but like how I act, you know, and like what I do to people physically, like that shit is where my real narcissism is, right? So like, that's something else about me, right? It's like, you know, like, I'm very conscious, you know, but like, I'm still more like very narcissistic, I would say, like, when it comes to like physical life, right? Just like, you know, just like relationships, you know, I'm not a good relationship partner at all, you know. And because that's where I'm weakest, like, I you know, like, I'm a loner for a reason. Like, I just don't know, or I haven't figured it out yet. You know, I need to. That's where I need to go, right? So, in any case, the ultimate point, right, for fear of this video becoming too long, is that, like, I did that video, right, to just basically talk about my own experiences with narcissism, right? And by sharing that knowledge, I was hoping, you know, or my wish is that, like, whoever's watching, whether you be someone who thinks that they might be narcissistic themselves, or someone who's like a victim of other narcissists, right? I you know, my wish would be that you then kind of think about it, and like, and try to like think in terms of like, okay, like, what can be done here, you know, like, how do I want things to go, you know, because like, maybe there's something that can be done, right? Maybe I need to dig deeper in myself, or maybe like I need to encourage, you know, my loved one, you know, to look at their selves more deeply, right? And maybe we need to communicate more, and maybe we need to get to the root of what's causing it. And it's like sometimes when you're self-journeying and you're unearthing these things, it's I'll be honest, right? You know, it's not that I'm trying to be like, you know, the bearer of bad news here, but like sometimes you'll find stuff that's incredibly scary and incredibly difficult to face, because like you run into like, you know, your root fears and like things that you're like just like super like terrified of, you know. Like maybe you're feared, maybe you're scared of like people leaving you, you know. Maybe you're scared of like people harming you. Maybe you're scared of being a bad person, you know. You know, I have some of those, right? And it's like and like you will face them, but like when you do face them, something else comes into your being, right? You start to be like, okay, like, so you know, I know these, and like it really hurts to find out about them. Like in my entry where I talked about like how it really hurt my heart. Like I had heart pain when I thought about like the whole narcissism thing. But like once you go through that and you're just like destroyed, basically, you know, you're kind of like feeling a bit like just depressed, right? Like at some point, like something some inspiration will come to you. You're like, okay, like, so what can I do? What do I need to do, right? You know, and that's what my wish for whoever's watching this is, right? You know, is like you have control in your life, you know. You may not be able to control all of life, but like you can, if you are in a situation where you have to deal with narcissists, or like if you have to deal with something that's like unpleasant, you know, it's like you can at least think about what you would want. Right, everyone daydreams. I daydream. Like I daydream all the fucking time. Like that's, in fact, like I daydreamed. That was what I spent most of my time as a kid doing. You know, in fact, like my imagination capabilities have like diminished as I age. But like when I was a kid, I was super imaginative, right? So it's like it's natural for people to daydream. And what do people daydream about? They daydream about better lives and like better situations, right? So like, if you listen to those, and you listen to what they say, and then you look at what's hurting you in your life, whether it be narcissists or narcissism within yourself and other people judging you or whatever the case may be, and then you find an intersection between those things, like you might have an idea of how to move forward in your life, right? You know, it's like a lot of, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get away from this video without saying at least something like not so sugarcoated and more like kind of realistic, which is like you only have one life, you know, and like you can spend that one life, you know, like basically being chained to like what other people think about you and what you think about you, your self-diagnoses, right? It's like, yeah, like the thing is like I am a fucking narcissist, right? You know, despite everything I said at the beginning, right? I'm a narcissist. Because I have narcissistic traits, you know, and you probably don't see those traits on this video because like I'm presenting my best side to you, right? But you know, but like I assure you that I do, right? But like it's just resigning to the fact like, oh, like, I'm a narcissist. I'm just a fucking narcissist. I'm a piece of shit. I don't know what, you know, like, fuck you, you know. It's like, what's that going to accomplish? You know, it's like, trust me, you don't want to like be like me and like waste so many years of your life just like blaming yourself and blaming others and like this whole thing. It's like, you know, like you don't like, maybe you do, but like at the end of it you realize, right, that like, okay, like maybe I should do something about this, you know, like maybe I can do something about this, right? I'm not blaming myself anymore. I'm not blaming other people anymore, right? I just want to live a better life, right? So like, that thing I've always wanted to do, maybe I can do that, right? you know? Like I said, you know, narcissism, like, is, you know, is you lacking fulfillment most of the times, right? That's why, like, it's like, again, it's like narcissists don't have a choice, right? Which is why I say, like, you know, you should go out and find yourself. That's why I say you should be more selfish, right? I'm not like I'm not trying to just, like, even though, like, well, part of me probably is, right? Let's be honest, like, there's always a little part of me that, you know, there's always a little part of you that's like, you know, like, take this shit and fuck them, right? It's like, there's always that, you know, everyone's has that. Everyone daydreams and everyone, like, is an asshole, you know, to some, you know, extent, right? You know, we all have that little asshole guy within us, right? Or asshole girl, right? And it's like, but, like, the thing is that, like, you know, like, you can do so much more, like, and, like, if you start moving towards things that you enjoy, right, and you start focusing on more on things that you enjoy, and you start focusing on a life that you might enjoy, right, a lot more, right, whether that be, like, earning more money, or being happier, or like, you know, like, or a better relationship, right, or, like, more fulfillment, right, more peace, you know, more, like, love, then, like, you can do it, right? Just do it, right? It costs nothing. All it takes is for you to get started. Do one thing that you enjoy. I talk into cameras and like, do all kinds of other stuff as well, right? And, like, do I worry about my well-being? You know, now that I'm close to 30 and, like, I'm still pretty, like, you know, there's not a lane etched out for me just yet. Yeah? All the fucking time, right? All the fucking time. You know? Like, do I still worry about shit even though I've been on this journey for a long time? Of course I do. Right? You know, it's like we all worry, we all have fears, like, we're all scared, we're all upset, we're all hurt, we're all angry, you know, we all, like, feel the urge to blame other people but then feel bad about it. You know, we all feel these things. So, like, it's okay to feel those things. Right? It's okay. I give myself this permission, right? I give myself the permission to be like, you know what, Bo, you can hate yourself. And sometimes it's okay to hate yourself even, because it's like, sometimes it just needs to happen, right? You just hate yourself. You can't deny it, right? You can't be like, okay, well, click, I don't hate myself anymore. So sometimes you just hate yourself. Or you hate other people. Or you hate something else, right? But, like, in other times, right, it's like, well, I could, like, continue to hate myself, you know, and like, be down on myself, right? But, like, you know, I could be painting a picture, drawing something beautiful. I could be writing a story, writing a poem. I could be talking to, like, my friends, right? And, like, and having this kind of conversation with them about, like, you know, like, how can I be a better friend to you, and like, how could you be a better friend to me, and how could, like, our relationship improve, you know? Like, what do I want to accomplish this year? What things do I want to see, you know? What things do I want to try? How can I think about making more money? How can I, like, get more of what I like? You know? How can I be more happy? You know, how can I, like, meet, like, just, you know what I'm saying? You know, and it's like, yeah, you know, again, it's okay to be down, but it's just like, you know, just keep that in mind, right? You know, if you'd like, right? You know, keep this in mind that, like, if you feel like that you're just a victim, whether it be of narcissists or anything else, right? Just be like, okay, so, like, fuck them. Honestly, like, you know, if I'm being honest, like, it's like, if you watch this video and you're like, fuck this guy, like, post that shit. Seriously, just be like, fuck this guy, right? And I'll get the message and I'll be like, cool, right? You know, it hurts, right? You know, because it's like, you know, fuck this guy. It's not the most pleasant thing to say to someone, but it's authentic to you, right? Fuck this guy. I fucking hate this guy. You know, fuck my life. Fuck my partner. Fuck this. You know, fine. say that shit as much as you want, right? But then when you don't feel like saying that shit, right? Be like, okay, what do I want to do today, right? You know, do I want to worry? Do I want to you know, kind of like just like ruminate myself into like a fucking dark abyss, all like, you know, and like all the time, or like, or do I maybe you do, right? You know, if you do, then you can do that as well. You can be sad, right? You can be angry, you can be sad, you can be jealous, you can be ashamed, you can be guilty, you can be anything, right? You can feel contempt towards other people, you can feel like murderous rage towards people, you can feel all kinds of things, right? Those things are called feelings, right? It's like, trust me, I know, right? You know, the impulse is to try and ignore them, like particularly the really dark ones. But it's like, at the end of the day, the thing you learn is like, if you just let them fucking pass you through, right? And maybe you scream a bit, or you hit something, or you break something, or like you yell at someone, you know, yeah, you know, like, or like you do something and you just let it out, like you realize that it's just, you know, it's just an emotion, and like you just move on to the next emotion, right? And it's like, the journey is about learning to like roll with what you have, which are these like crazy chaotic emotions, and like all of these thoughts and all of this fucking pressure, and just be like, okay, like maybe I can do one thing, right? Maybe I can do one thing. Maybe I can't do what you told me, Bo. Maybe some people don't have the luxury to envisage being like in a better place, or with a better job, or with more money, or in a better relationship. Like maybe I don't fucking have the same luxury as you right now, right? Right. But like maybe I can do one thing. Maybe I can fucking go for a walk every day and just think, and not be in front of the computer, and like not be, you know, drop your kids to school, right? Do the cooking, do the housework, and then just like go out and take a walk without any purpose other than to like be with yourself and see what you feel. And my recommendation, you know what my recommendation is, right? I recommend this a lot, right? Is to like record yourself. You know, if you don't like writing, if you don't like typing, right? Get your phone, download a sound recorder app if you don't have one, and just let it rip. Go for a walk, right? And then like for half an hour to an hour, right? That's enough. That's more than enough, right? And just speak your mind. Pretend you're on the phone. That's what I do, right? I go out and I pretend I'm on the phone, but I'm actually recording myself, right? And I just talk and I express myself, and like you'll be surprised, because like you might scream, you might feel really shit like about yourself. You might hate yourself. You know, you might feel a whole bunch of things, but like you might also be like, you know what I really want to do? I want to do this, right? I'm going to do that tonight. Or like I'll find, and if I can't do it tonight because my entire schedule is chock-a-block, right? I'll schedule it in for next week, and I'll just try it, and I only have to do it once, right? And I'll see how it is, and if I enjoy it, I can keep trying to schedule it in my life, right? That's what I hope for you and myself. Like I try, like it's hard, trust me, like, you know, like just life is hard, right? It's like things don't always go your way. You try, but sometimes you fail, right? Do you know how much I procrastinate? I procrastinate so fucking much. It's insane, right? But then like something happens and I'm forced to work again, or like I feel inspired to do something and I do that thing, and like, you know, the chaos, right? But like the only thing I really like, I talk a bunch of, you know, on this channel, right? I talk a bunch, you know, but at the end of the day, like all I can really give to you is faith in yourself. That is the one thing I wish upon you, is to have faith in yourself, and have faith that your life can improve, or that like you can keep going towards something you love, right? I feel that there's a lot of shoulding and shouldn'ting, right? Do you want a good life? Do this, or don't do that, right? And it's like, that has its place, you know, and like similarly, like, you know, there are a lot of people like who like, you know, everything will be fine, man, everything will be fine, but it's like, sometimes things aren't fine, right? So I guess like I'm trying to hit the middle here, which is like, you know, obviously like own how you feel. If you're upset, like you have a right to be upset, you know, You do, right? You know, and you have your own reasoning, and like it's completely 100% makes sense for you, right? You know, if someone doesn't understand that, fuck them. Fuck them. You know? You have a right to be like, fuck you, right? But you then once you do that, oh god, I think my phone died. Or rather, my battery's dead. Give me 1 second. Technical hitch. My eye is blurry because I've been shining a light into it for all the time. Good thing I have a second phone. Ha ha! So, yeah, you know, anyway, this entry is way too long, like, I guess, and I kind of, like, got off topic, but, like, you know, it's like, it's a blessing and a curse for me, like, the way that I think, right? I feel that, like, at my core, I'm just someone who, like, just wants to, I'm a feeler. Like, I'm not really a thinker, you know, you can probably tell. I sound probably fairly intelligent, like, in my entries, you know, and I'm fairly articulate, right? But, like, I'm way more a feeler, right? So, like, I feel things more, you know, and, like, and so, like, sometimes I talk, sometimes I say retarded shit, basically. But I hope that what I say makes sense. Because my purpose is just to be real, you know, with whoever's watching this and with myself, right? And what's real is that, like, we're all on this earth, and it's hard, right? It's hard, and it's hurtful, you know, and sometimes shit is just out of your control, and, like, you wish it was different, but, like, the thing is that, like, there's also times when, like, you see some beautiful things, like, you know, like, you don't, like, so I do, like, a delivery job, like, in the weekends, right, to kind of survive, right, basically, but, like, just, like, whenever, like, I get, like, someone and I deliver to them, and, like, they tip me, or, like, they just say something nice to me, or they strike up a conversation, I'm like, I could be in, like, the foulest mood, and, like, they say something to me, I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? Fucking, you know, like, trying to be nice to me, but another part of me is like, I can't believe that I could be surprised like that. Because you can be surprised, you can have a bad surprise, but you could also have a good surprise, right? It's like, life is full of surprises, right? But, yeah, you know, and so, yeah. My message to myself, and on this channel, hopefully, right? I hope this is the message that kind of pierces through, is like, I want the world to just be a happier place, you know, like, and like, to be happy, and for the world to be a happy place, so it has to accept that, like, the world is sometimes a dismal place, but, like, if you can allow yourself to sit with those things such as cancer or addiction or narcissism, right? And just feel how powerless you are towards those things, and how much you hate them, and the people that resemble those things, right? If, you know, which could be yourself, you know. And, like, you just think about it, and you just, like, you just think deep, you just think, like, okay, like, what is this? And then you just follow that rabbit hole of, like, just thinking about it and being like, okay, like, what can I do about this, right? Then, like, it will prepare you to be more happy automatically. It's like, you know, it's like the best, the coolest thing ever, right? The thing that I'm discovering more and more is that, like, if you can get through the shit in life, right? And you just work your ass off, basically, and you just, like, push through, and you get through whatever hardship you're facing, and you get to the other side, like, it's just the most beautiful thing ever. And, like, it's like, and then you can be positive again. It's like, this is the secret, right? Is like, you have to be a fighter in this world, but you fight for love. I've talked about this before. I think I actually have an entry that's entitled "Fight for Love," right? But, like, a lot of people fight for defense, or for whatever reason, right? You know, and, like, fair thing, right? You know, again, I'm not one to judge, right? Because I know that I was there once, and I could be there again, and, like, it happens. It's called the human experience, right? But, like, if you can change from someone who fights people because, like, you know, they're just, like, trying to, like, keep their fort, right? then, you know, then and you get to a place where like you start to discover things that you love and like things that you're passionate about, right? If you don't have them, you will find them, right? I just want to say that, right? If you don't have any passions, if you don't know what you want to do, like if when I say that it pisses you off because you're like, what the fuck are you talking? Like, yeah, easy for you to say, Bo, you know, you're talented in speaking and blah, right? It's like, you're talented in something too, motherfucker, right? You just gotta find it, right? You know, like, you know, find the thing that you love to do and it's really easy for you. Like, it could be something like, I don't know, like sewing or like, I don't know, like, gambling even, you know, like it could be anything, right? And just like figure out like what you know, what you can do with that thing, right? And how you could like own that thing and like, you know, even if it's something negative, right? You know, like, so what if I'm good at something that's like addictive, right? You know, like gambling or something like that. It's like, well, make money from it, you know? And then like maybe after you get good enough and you make money from it, right? And you will because you're talented in it, right? Then like you can fucking like apply that to other areas in life, right? You know, all gambling is risk taking, right? So like there's a thing behind the thing that you love that is your actual talent, right? And it's like an all-encompassing thing, right? So me doing these vlog entries, it's like articulate, like self-expression. Like I'm a good like expressor, right? I'm a terrible communicator, like when it comes to like exchanging, right? You know, like kind of like talking to people and stuff like that. Like I'm not that great, right? But like I'm a good, like I can really easily articulate myself, and I'm really in touch with like myself, and I can trust myself to express myself in a very, very like sophisticated way, right? So like just find the thing that you're good at, and like, you know, just like and you will realize, and then like Google and YouTube that shit, right? And like you will realize that there are people who are like you, who like are doing something with it, you know. Maybe they have a career, like maybe they're just doing it for fun, right? But like, yeah, you know, if you know, you don't have to do that straight away, right? You know, because comparison can be deadly, right? It can kind of be a demotivator, but like just do it for fun, you know. And trust me, like eventually that love will grow, and then you will be able to like, you will start to be like, okay, life is tough. Life, like, you know what I realized? Even after discovering like things that I love and like going in the direction of what I love and blah blah, right? You know, heart engine, yeah, like follow your heart, right? That is one of my main messages, but like, you know, my main articulations. But like, did it change the fact that life was tough? Fuck no. Like, you know, fuck no. Life is still hard, right? But the thing is that like, the great thing, the most beautiful thing is like, I used to fight. Like, well, I didn't even used to fight. I was such a pussy when I grew up. Like, but like, I was so concerned about my self-image and like, and all this shit, right? And like, what people thought of me and all this stuff, and like, I didn't want, and I hated when people picked on me and stuff. It's like, now I don't care about that stuff that much anymore, because like now I know, like, I fight to make my art, to express myself, right? To like continue to explore myself and to see what's possible in life. Trust me, it will happen, right? So cool. I hope that was clear, right? If you have any more questions, then feel free to leave them in the description below. I really appreciate this channel is honestly not a channel where it's just, I don't really know, like, you know, like I said in the past, I've thought about how it could how I could like make this into something that could help people, and then like, you know, monetize it or something like that. But like, I don't know. I just make these videos to discuss things, right? And you know, but like, but if I can be of help in some way, like in terms of like discussion, right, then that'd be cool, right? You know. So anyway, cool. Anyway, cool. Anyway, cool. So thank you for watching this as usual, guys. And yeah, you know, keep going. I wish you all the best. You know, believe in yourself. Believe in what you could accomplish. Believe in your own happiness. and your own just sense of like peace and beauty in life, because you only have one life. Ha! But you can use that life as you know, just start now. If you haven't already started, right? You can do it, right? The world, this is not a new thing, right? People have been doing this for years already, like talking to a camera on YouTube and shit, you know. There's like shit like Patreon and all this. Like, it's like the world is so different now, right? Like, this world is so different now. You can like I'm sure like people watching this, and if you don't, you can find them. But like you probably have like a million mentors. that's a gross exaggeration, but like you probably already have like leagues of mentors online, right? I have like fucking tons of mentors online. I don't have a mentor in real life yet, but like I have tons of mentors online. Like people I've just watched who have inspired me, who have taught me so much about how to think, how to approach like problems in my life. So like the world is so fucking crazy, right? You know. But anyway, but I'll say one more thing, which is like if you're really someone who's stuck, because like I can say all of this, right, and like it helps if you have that kind of like trajectory, but like, you know, maybe you're stuck, you know, and maybe you are, whether that be you're stuck in a situation in life, you're stuck in a relationship, you're stuck in something, right? My heart goes out to you, and you know, I'm sorry, I really am, but like, but I hope that you will trust me on one thing, which is like, you know, forget everything I said, right? It's not, you know, I'm just a rando on the internet, right? But like, I hope you will trust me on one thing, which is like to like start thinking. Like I said, you know, do that one thing where like you're at least like take a walk, or you write something down, and you or you know, if my videos help, like watch my videos, right? Or watch someone else you find interesting, you know, just start loading up on that stuff. And even though you may not like see a way out just yet, like you'll find a way out, you know. Just keep going, you know, keep going. So cool. Thank you for watching this, guys, and I will catch you. I think the next entry might also be controversial, but like, anyway, I'm gonna go now. I was gonna record it today, but like I'm in the dark, so fuck that. But anyway, so cool. Until next time, guys, stay healthy, stay conscious, stay loving, you know, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next entry. Peace out.